This was my container garden 3 seasons ago. Every week I watered it. Every week I fertilized it. And every single season, without fail, the same diseases came back. Powdery mildew on the squash, leaf spot on the tomatoes, root rot underneath plants that looked perfectly healthy on the surface until the day they collapsed. I tried fungicide sprays, I tried different soil mixes, I tried moving containers to different spots on the patio. Nothing worked. The diseases kept coming back. Same time, every year. Same crops, same containers. It took me an entire failed season to realize that the diseases were not the problem. The watering was the problem. Every single disease destroying my container garden had the same root cause. Too much moisture in the wrong places at the wrong times, and I was causing all of it myself. This is the same patio today. Same containers, same crops, no fungicide, no disease. The only thing that changed was the watering schedule. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly what that schedule looks like and, more importantly, why it works. Welcome to Green Roots. If this is your first time here, we build practical gardening systems that actually work in real spaces. Subscribe if that's what you're looking for. Before I give you the schedule, you need to understand the mechanism, because once you see how disease actually starts in a container garden, the schedule will make complete sense and you'll never water the wrong way again. Most fungal diseases, powdery mildew, leaf spot, botrytis, downy mildew, require two things to establish: moisture on the leaf surface and time. Specifically, they need leaf surfaces to remain wet for 4 or more consecutive hours to allow fungal spores to germinate and penetrate the leaf tissue. Overhead watering, which is how most people water their containers, guarantees both conditions simultaneously. You wet the entire leaf surface, and if you water in the evening, which most gardeners do because it feels logical to water when the sun is down and evaporation is lower, those wet leaves sit damp for the entire night, 8 to 10 hours, more than enough time for every fungal spore in the environment to establish and begin colonizing your plants. Now consider what happens when you water in the morning at the base of the plant only. By the time midday arrives, any moisture that's splashed onto leaves has evaporated completely. The leaf surface stays dry for the entire afternoon and evening. No wet surface, no germination window, no disease. That single change in timing and method accounts for the elimination of every foliar disease I experienced. Not a spray, not a product, just dry leaves. But foliar disease was only half the problem. The other half was happening underground, and it was invisible until the plant was already dying. Root rot is caused by a different mechanism than foliar disease, but equally preventable. It occurs when the root zone stays saturated for extended periods without a dry-out phase. Roots need oxygen as much as they need water. Soil that never dries out between waterings becomes anaerobic, meaning oxygen depleted. In that environment, a water mold called Phytophthora thrives. It attacks root tissue directly and kills the plant from the bottom up, often while the above-ground portions still look completely healthy. The fix is the finger test, and it becomes the foundation of the entire watering schedule. Before every single watering, push your index finger 1 full inch into the soil. If the soil at that depth is still moist, do not water. Come back tomorrow and test again. Only water when the top inch is completely dry to the touch. This dry-out phase between waterings does something critical. It forces roots to grow deeper and wider in search of moisture, making the plant structurally stronger. And it maintains an oxygen-rich root zone that Phytophthora cannot survive in. Here is the complete watering schedule. Every element of it exists for a specific reason, and once you understand each reason, you'll maintain it naturally without having to think about it. When to water: early morning only, between 6 and 9 a.m. This gives any incidental moisture on leaves the entire day to evaporate before temperatures drop in the evening. Morning watering also means the root zone receives water just as the plant is entering its peak photosynthesis period, which is when it most needs a fully hydrated root system. How to water. Base of the plant only, every single time. Direct the spout of your watering can or the end of your hose at the soil surface immediately around the plant's base. Never spray across the top of the plant. Never use a sprinkler attachment that mists the foliage. Soil only, every time without exception. How much to water? Water deeply until you see water running freely from the drainage holes at the base of the container. This is the only reliable indicator that you fully saturated the entire root zone, not just the top few inches. Shallow watering that only moistens the surface actually encourages roots to stay near the top of the container, making them more vulnerable to both drought and overwatering damage. One critical note on drainage: if your containers are sitting flat on a solid surface, a patio, a deck, a balcony, the drainage holes may be partially blocked by the surface beneath. Elevate every container at least half an inch off the ground using pot feet, bricks, or a wooden slat. This single change ensures complete drainage every time you water and eliminates one of the most common causes of root rot in container gardens. How often to water? This is where most schedules fail because they give a fixed frequency without accounting for season. In peak summer heat, containers in full sun may need daily deep watering. In spring and autumn, the same containers may only need watering every 2 to 5 days. The finger test overrides all of this. It's your real-time soil sensor, and it's always more accurate than any fixed schedule. Once you understand the schedule, two tools make executing it almost effortless, especially if you're managing multiple containers. Tool 1, a soil moisture meter. A basic analog probe meter costing under $10 eliminates the guesswork from the finger test entirely. Insert the probe 2 to 3 inches into the soil. A reading in the dry zone means water today. A reading in the moist zone means come back tomorrow. If you're managing 6, 8, or 10 containers, this saves you from testing every pot individually by hand and gives you a consistent, objective reading every time. Tool 2, a basic drip irrigation kit with a timer. For anyone managing more than 4 containers, a simple gravity or tap-fed drip system with a mechanical timer is the single best investment you can make in your container garden. Set the timer to activate at 7 a.m. for 20 to 30 minutes. The drip lines deliver water directly to the base of each plant, never overhead, always at the root zone, always at the right time of day. From the moment you install it, the timing and method elements of your watering schedule become automatic. With a moisture meter to guide frequency and a drip timer to handle timing and method, the only decision left is whether the soil is dry enough to activate the system. Most gardeners check once in the morning, confirm with the moisture meter, and override the timer only when recent rain has already watered the containers naturally. 3 full seasons since implementing this schedule, not a single case of powdery mildew, not a single plant lost to root rot. The tomatoes that used to develop leaf spot by July are still producing clean, healthy foliage in September. The crops didn't change, the containers didn't change, the soil didn't change, the patio didn't change. The watering changed. That's all. And the discipline required is minimal. 1 finger test per container per morning. Water deeply when dry. Base of the plant only before 9 a.m. That's the entire system. 4 rules, 0 products, no disease. If you've been losing plants to disease and couldn't figure out why, start here. Change the timing, change the method, run it for 4 weeks, and watch what happens to your containers. Subscribe for a new guide every week, and the next video covers the soil mix that works underneath this schedule to make sure your drainage is perfect from the moment you plant. It's on your screen right now.